Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Lightyear, the new Disney and Pixar film that happens to give us the origin story of our favorite member of Star Command, Buzz Lightyear. Now, when it comes to Buzz Lightyear as a character, he's certainly been an icon for Pixar ever since the beginning in 1995, with the release of the original Toy Story. Since then, there has been a Buzz Lightyear Star Command TV series that has given us their version of the origin story of Buzz Lightyear. But while that still remains canon, this basically gives us more of an origin story as to the person that Buzz Lightyear was based off of. And according to the introduction of this movie, it's apparently Andy's favorite film. Well, if that's the case, he clearly hasn't seen that many movies. Considering that it's not a bad film per se, but it's more of just a very conventional origin story that happens to do a very it happens to be a very by the numbers sci fi adventure that you've probably seen a million times before this. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows Buzz Lightyear, this time voiced by Chris Evans, as he ends up getting a lot of members of Star Command marooned on an alien planet after making a big mistake involving getting the ship out of an uncharted planet. But he happens to try and test out hyperspeed on this spaceship to try and find a way to get everyone back to Star Command. But turns out every single time he goes to hyperspace, he ends up traveling through time. So, while he remains the young space cadet who's constantly trying to improve himself, he ends up passing by so many times to the point where all the people he used to work with end up dying of old age or they end up being too old to continue working. That includes his commanding officer. But when he happens to travel through time with hyperspace technology that does work, he finds that he has to work with a bunch of young recruits against the evil Emperor Zurg. So yeah, that's basically the plot, and when it comes to a lot of the characters and the plot beats, you can kind of tell how it's going to go from the very start. Buzz is going to learn to work together with a team. He's going to learn to not always follow protocol that doesn't make sense in Star Command, and he's going to find a way to reconnect with the granddaughter of his former commanding officer. It's it's pretty typical when it comes to a lot of these sci-fi plots that you've probably seen in several other movies. And that's kind of the biggest problem with this one. You can tell every plot beat from the beginning, and it does feel like it's not really doing anything with a clever parody or a clever subversion of those tropes. It just sort of plays them very straight. However, there are some fun characters that can help entertain everyone in the audience, such as Socks, this little cat that happens to help Buzz throughout most of the film, played by Peter Sohn. Plus, Taika Waititi's here as Mo, a young recruit who's constantly accident prone. And yeah, Taika Waititi, Peter Sohn, and even Keke Palmer, who plays Hawthorne, the main ally that Buzz has in the film, they're all fun characters, but it feels like they've been done before when it comes to how they're characterized. And that's not even getting to how they characterize Zurg. While Josh Brolin is a pretty good choice for the voice actor, the twist that they go for him not only contradicts a lot of what people thought Zurg would be, but it just feels like this could have been a much better reveal, especially considering Pixar's track record when it comes to their villains. However, that's not to say that this is a bad movie. It's very visually pleasing. It does the beats of the plot pretty well. The emotional moments do land, and the comedy, for the most part, is amusing. It just feels like out of all of Pixar's library, this is one of the weakest out of the bunch. But that's not to say it's not worth watching. It just feels like a lot could have been done with the script to improve it. And it could have had a bit more time taken in the story room. But let's be fair here. When it comes to an origin story that fits Buzz Lightyear as a character while still keeping everything we love about him canon, this one is decent. It's fine for what it is, but for Buzz Lightyear, I kind of expected more. But I'm still willing to give him a 7 out of 10. To infinity and beyond.